The biggest issue the market is facing right now, it is what I call the tariffs time bomb. It may not be exactly what you think it might be because most retail traders are actually not talking about that. On a macro level, the biggest issue, once again, that we are facing right now for the market is the Supreme Court decision on tariffs. In case you do not know what's going on right now, there are a couple of cases. There's a couple of cases in front of the Supreme Court where a few companies are actually challenging in court. They are suing the administration, saying those tariffs are illegal. They do not want to pay for them, and for those who already paid, they actually asking for a refund. So the Supreme Court has been delaying. They playing chickens, guys. The Supreme Court is completely playing chickens. They do not want to make a decision on this. They were supposed to make a decision last week. The day that that decision was supposed to come down, they said we're not making a decision today. Then that was rescheduled for today. And once again today, they came out and said we are not making a decision. Now, the only logical answer to that for me is that most likely that decision is not going to be well received by the market, and things might break. Therefore, we all working together. At the end of the day, we do not want the stock market to break, guys. There are too many of us in this country where that has 401ks. Too many people have money invested on retirement and things like that. We just cannot afford that. As of right now, the economy with inflation, with everything, stock market investors are really the backbone of this economy, right? These are the people that are still spending. So that's the reason we see luxury brands are still doing very well, while lower brands are not doing very well, like the Nikes and so forth. But for luxury brands, luxury hotels, airlines, who typically travels, right? Go stay at hotels, buy luxury goods. These are mostly people who are invested in the stock market, like people that's making some really good money. And if you have a good job, you're making over 150 to over 250, most likely you are invested in the market. Anyway, we're going to get into it, guys. I'm going to break it down completely for you guys. I'm just going to give people a few minutes just to get in. If you are here, I would love to know where you are watching from. Let me check the chat real quick. James, I see you here, man. Always a pleasure to see you here. Thank you for tuning in. Always a pleasure. Let me give you guys a couple minutes. All right. If you know anyone that might benefit from those type of videos, feel free to share those videos with them. Again, I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to get in. If you already here, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that way, whenever we go live, whenever we drop videos, you guys actually have those videos. Empire Path NYC. Well, I'm in NYC as well. Love to have a fellow New Yorker in here. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Um, let's give you a couple of minutes here real quick while we are completely getting set up. Again, guys, that decision is going to be weight very heavily on the market. Every single day we think we might be getting a decision, the market actually tanks, and then when the decision is supposed to come out, then we have news that, hey, you know what, they've decided to delay that decision, and what we end up getting again constantly we keep getting is we have a rally. Brother James in Miami, I see you, man. I appreciate you, my brother. Um, but this is just how it is. That's how it is. That decision is not going to be fun because imagine, right? We all know the federal government is not collecting all this tariff money and letting it sit there. Most likely, that money was collected and it was either appropriated to something, it was used for some whatever. That money is already gone. All right. This is why we want a very large deficit. That money is already gone. Now think about how many billions the administration been saying they collected, and if that decision comes out that all of this was illegal, that means they have to give back those companies all that money. Now, there's two ways to play this. All right, there's two ways you can play this. One, you can either make sure you go and you can short the market, right? Potentially they're making money on that, and maybe when it comes out and it doesn't really affect the market, that's more of a high risk trade. Or the other way to play that is possibly buying into those companies that had heavy tariffs burden, like a Nike, right? I've already, if we can take a quick look at Nike here, so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, hold on. I'm going to bring this up real soon. This is not syncing. That is not good. Come on. All right, this is for the first time. We're going to do this for the first time. We're not going to go off of the S&P. We're just gonna take a quick look at Nike. All right. So before all of this stuff was happening, this is where Nike was, right, guys? Nike was. I mean, they got pummeled during their earnings. This is what happened. And then this whole thing started coming out when the Supreme Court was supposed to go make a decision. Nike has rallied from 50, like 55, 56, down from 56, has rallied all the way up to 67, right? 10, 12 points move. That move has already been made. Do I think there's more to go for a company like that, like Nike? Absolutely. I absolutely think there is more to go if they can actually get a favorable decision. This is what the interesting part about this, right? How interesting is it, guys? Like, take a quick look at that. What do you guys see here? While we are waiting for a decision to happen and they have not made it, we actually have a wedge pattern. We actually have a wedge pattern that's actually coming to close, meaning we're going to have a big move, a big breakdown or a big breakout coming shortly, because eventually they have to make a decision. And I'm pretty sure whenever that decision is made, that's when we're going to pick a direction on Nike. All right, now let's go back to what we're supposed to look at again, guys. Just wanted to talk to you guys about that because most traders are not talking about this. Most especially retail traders are not focused and really talking about that. And this is something that we have to pay attention to. We have to because that is a really big deal. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the S&P 500 right now, as we typically do, to see exactly what happened in the market today. It was an event. It was an interesting day. A really wide trading range today. As we look here, a lot of people suffered today. If you survive today, for those of you guys that might have had, call options and so forth, if you survived today, I salute you because it was tough. At the same time, what is it I keep talking to you guys about? You're going to get tired of me saying it, but I will keep saying that to you guys again. It is process over profit. Part of the process is knowing your levels, knowing your trend lines, knowing where you are. All right. So if you look at that, right, this is the most updated trend line. All right. So if you asking, I have multiple trend lines on my charts. Let me just remove that. I always have multiple trend lines on my chart. And I always have a really updated, most recent trend lines. And that recent trend lines always includes what? The previous low and then the very next lower low. All right? That's the way I draw this. So that was there before we had this done in the market. I already had this trend line sitting right there, connecting this low with that low, because that's a low and that's a higher low. I always have that. All right. So what did we see today? A lot of people were panicking. I was not. When I was meeting with people in my group, my community, which we do trade live with some people in the community, I was telling people, hey, we have a trend line, a support trend line at this level. right? So I was not calling for a complete, hey, we're going to tank. This is the market about to drop and yada yada. All this stuff. I see some people were, jumping the gun and posting videos midday saying, calling for market crash. There was a hanging man up there, so therefore this is a market crash. I looked at those videos and I'm like, hey, no judging, but for me, I just don't see it. Reason why? We have a first level that's here. We actually have a second support level. Let me extend that out. We have a second support level. That's that zone that we had to fight with, right? And then we have that trend line that would need to be broken. All right. So we have a lot of work to do before I can start really thinking about market crash. Right. Pullbacks, yes. Correct. Maybe a correction, yes. But market crash, we do have a long way to go for us to do that. Now, if we go below this level, you will start hear me maybe shifting the way I talk about the market. But as of right now, this is what we are currently looking at. And if we dig in, right, before I even say let's dig in, let's say exactly what happened. What did I show you guys? Once again, I said yesterday, right? Watch the levels. All right, these are the levels to watch. I called it. Now let's go to the 30 minutes and see exactly what we did because those levels was drawn. So this is the first one. What did we do? Right at the open. Let me even go in the 5 minutes so you guys get a clearer picture of what happened, right? So 5 minute time frame, market open, and it seems like we are going to get what? A hammer. Obviously, first candle, market open, so we have that. We got a hammer, and the very next candle, look how bearish that candle is. I mean, you can even call that an engulfing pattern, but I guess since he has, the wick, because I don't use wick or shadows, but the wick is this, guys. Some people call it wick, some call it shadow. In case you've learned from someone who called it shadow or wick, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right there, and this happened, and then sure enough, it just gave out. What is this level? If you look at it, that corresponds to yesterday's low. This is yesterday's low. So it came to test the level, see if it could pop back up. It couldn't, and it just completely crashed back down. All right. So now let's take a look at the 30 minutes. If you're wondering how did I come up with the trend line that I had? That trend line was drawn a few days ago, actually. Um, that trend line was drawn a few days ago. I like to do that before the market open. I find the 30 minutes or and the 4 hour if they are different and the daily, right? And I saw they were all aligned. So when I draw that, that's the 30 minutes trend line. So it started here. That's the low connected to this low where it came to test it, and all it did today was come here and do that, right? And I also had on the top, I have this wedge pattern. So that we have the top trend right there. That's the top of the wedge. You can see how price action went down, move up, do a pullback, went here, can't actually pierce it, came back down, try again, pull down, try again, fell, and then we just did this and we're down. We just came back to support level. All right. So that's exactly what we're doing. This is how I identify these things. In conditions with obviously with MACD and everything else, but this is the way I'm able to find these things. All right, guys. So that's what that looks like on the daily. Again, process over profit. Have your process, follow your process, know exactly the levels you're targeting, the levels you're looking for. As long as you can see those levels and whatever, whenever the price goes somewhere, when people might be calling crash, you might be taking opportunity. Right now, I would say I did not take advantage of this opportunity. Why I didn't take advantage of it? If you guys are asking or wondering, I did not take advantage of it because I feel like I'm a little too exposed as it is in the market. Therefore, I did not take advantage of it. All right. So now let's check the Qs. The Qs was a bit of a bloodbath, to be honest. If you look at the volume, I mean the selling volume was just crazy. It was just crazy. And remember, I keep telling you guys, the Qs makes me, has if you watch Madagascar, so you'll get that reference. So the Qs make me guess the Hilly as King Julians would say. But anyway, just if you're looking at that, what are we seeing right now? I'm seeing that's a breakout failing because we try to make the breakout. We did make a lower low. I mean, that candle did close higher, not much higher. It was still below the wick, so I was not very comfortable with that. And if you wanna draw that, let's say we draw that sort of like as a zone, as a resistance zone. We never actually closed above that level, above those candles. We never did. We were never able to actually pierce through that, and then we just completely fell back down. Now we are right back inside of that wedge pattern, or you could say a rising triangle. We right back in there. Something will happen. Again, all we did was come right back down. That actually has to move up just to account for this. These two candles. We just came to hit right on top of that support level. Again, this is why it's so good to make sure you draw your levels, have your levels in your chart, guys. That will help you so much. Sometimes it's going to almost make you feel like as if you can predict the future almost, but it's not. It's just like the stock market respects levels, especially on a daily time frame. 1 minute, 5 hours, 15 minutes, not as much. But once you start to getting that on the higher time frame, one thing you're going to realize is a lot of times those levels are respected. Why? Because we have a ton of buyers sitting right at this level. Anytime it comes here, the buyers are stepping in, traders are stepping in, institutions are stepping in, and the algorithm are stepping in because that is a buy zone. All right, that is a buy. So when stock gets to those levels, and you see they react right at those levels. So that's what we're trying to trade. Make sure we get to those levels so we can get our trade. Again, yesterday I believe I talked to you guys yesterday about you can see what the day looked like. We started to pull up, but we actually crashed back down. That is actually good news that the 10-year yield is actually going down. It cannot break this level. That is pretty good. And if we break that resistance level, actually, let me put my alert here so I can get alerted when that happens. If we can break that level, that actually is bad news for us. For those of us who are investors, who are holding calls, who are bullish on the market, that is a problem. Okay, so just going back real quick, that just show you guys exactly what happened today. So if we wanna, let's take a quick look and see if there's anything that's actually any pattern that's actually trying to potentially form currently in the market. So this is what I'm looking at currently, right? So I would do a trend line. This is my 30 minutes. So this is my trend line. I could put that right here. So what do you see here based on this trend line? Based on this trend line, you could say we have broken that the downward trend line, right? We've broken that. You can see that we went there, pushed down, went there, can't break it, pushed down, we finally break it, and we testing it, and it seems like we're consolidating outside of it. All right, so that is good news. That is good news. My bias right now for tomorrow would be an update in the market. That is my bias. Again, this is nothing to suggest that you should go tomorrow as soon as the market open and you buy, or you go right now as well, maybe not right now, but you go early in the morning pre-market, you start buying stuff. That's not what I'm not saying. That I cannot tell you to buy, hold, or sell anything. By the way, I'm just letting you guys know based on what I'm looking at. There's not a perfect pattern being formed, but based on what I'm looking at, this is what I'm seeing. All right. What I can possibly consider that as of right now, you could say, hey, We best out. You can see how the market try to go down multiple occasion. Look at that. A lot of buyers are stepping in right at that level. We pushed it up. And what are we doing here? Let me see. I'll give you guys a minute. If you can put it in the chat, if you know exactly what this pattern is, I would appreciate if you guys can just drop that in the chat. Let me know if you recognize this. I'll give you guys a minute. Let's see if we get anything comes in. All right. Well, we can't hold it. We can't hold it too much. If somebody's typing something, you might be a little too late. Anyway, that is very easy to recognize. That is a flag pattern. And since there you go. We came in. Golden Raven. You are absolutely correct. So this is a bull flag. Uh, Same with James. Absolutely correct. This is a bull flag. That's a bull flag pattern. So how exactly if we have that, okay, this, that, and here, we can even put that. Oh, okay. Let's stop you there. Let me draw it with that instead. Okay. Once we get a break of this downward line, once we get a break, right? So this would be our entry. That's our signal. All right. Now, how do you calculate the target? I know I say that all the time. I'm teaching you guys all the time, but I really want you guys to know this. All right. This is how you find what the target would be if we do break that. To find the target, you would take the length of the flagpole, right? Just like I did last night to show you guys. Take the length of the flagpole and you take it and you move it up. How interesting is that, huh? So this is what that move is showing. All right, there you go. So that's what that move is showing. Where exactly is that showing that we're potentially going to go? This is the top of that wedge pattern. Top of it, literally where it says we are going. So if tomorrow we get the signal and you get in for a swing trade, right? If you're not day trading it, you're getting for a swing trade. So that would tell you this would be your total profit target, 695, which interestingly enough coincide with exactly the top of that range. This is amazing. All right, but at the same time, I don't want you guys to forget that inside of every single move, right? Every single move you're looking at, bullish or bearish, there's always the other case. It is possible also that this breaks down. It is also possible that this breaks down and we keep going and we go right to that level. It is also possible. All right. But if you're looking at that, it's almost like we're doing a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern. It doesn't have to be perfect for it to be an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? So that would be the left shoulder. We have the head, the inverted head, and this would be the right shoulder. You can say right shoulder is being formed here, meaning we would get that push. All right. I typically prefer when they are the shoulders are aligned, so that way it gives me a perfect neckline, right? Very a perfect neckline, but it doesn't have to be perfect. All right. But this is also what seems to be forming right there. And you guys are absolutely right, man. It I'm so happy to see that, man. I'm so happy to see that everyone who actually guessed what pattern that was actually got the correct answer on that. That is great. That is absolutely great. Okay, if we go back on the daily, as we do every single time, if you are somebody with access to computer, or if you know you day trade, you don't have your computer right now, I would suggest that you open your notes app on your phone, or text somebody. I don't care. Find a way and get these levels on your chart. 691.6 and 686.09. So this is the range that we have for tomorrow in case we open right in that level. But if we gap up, watch for the pullback to retest the top of yesterday's low, right? Potentially that would be a great trade. If we pop up and we come to test that, we can push all the way up. The same time, if we gap down, okay, I might have to move this. Okay. It is with great chagrin that I have to remove you because you are now getting on my way. Okay. So we could also gap all the way down. Doesn't seem likely right now because this is like so far down. Something bad have to have happened overnight for us to have that kind of drop that would really gap us all the way down to this level. All right. So but anyway, if we gap down, watch for a retest of the previous day's low and to continue that move if we can get back in. All right, so make sure you guys watch those. And if we are in here, right? If we open here, don't be surprised if you have a move like this and just pull right back down. Or if we open here, we just come to the trend line and push up or all the way down. So these are, make sure you know your levels, make sure you have your stuff ready. So that way when things are happening, we can't predict what's going to happen, right? But we can be prepared in case they happen. Have different cases, right? Before the market open, have your charts lined up, have everything set up, you have all your levels set up, so that way whatever it is that happened, it is no surprise. Okay, it's been a while, guys, since I checked a few of those other things with you guys. I want to show you guys IWM. IWM, this is the small cap, right? That's the Russell 2000 that mostly encompass small caps in it. Right now, I'm not sure about what we're doing here. Are we going to continue to break this level? I mean, we do look very bullish as of right now. I'll tell you that. We currently look very, very bullish right now. This is an engulfing pattern, but again, remember when we had look at when we had this candle here, that looked very mightily bullish, right? And then the next day we did that. For the next couple of days, we just pulled down, right? So this is a nice one. That is a beautiful one. So can we continue to move that up? But I would say just be careful. Cautiously optimistic, cautiously bullish, right? Even though we having good patterns, but as I've always tell you guys, it is not just getting the patterns, it is where that pattern is being made. All right. So a pattern that's being made, bullish pattern, engulfing, bearish, bullish engulfing, uh, um, uh, morning star, whatever it might be, a pattern being developed at all-time highs at resistance level, the probability is not as high as that same pattern showing up at support level. All right. I like to have bullish patterns show up at support level. To me, that's a clear indication that there's a chance for a big move. All right. So reason I'm saying to be careful with a small cap, right, especially with the IWM, is okay. We are at the top of this wedge right now. So where's your target? We don't have a target. I know for some people they say, hey, you know what? It's blue sky, meaning we can run to infinity. We have never ran to infinity. All right, we have never ran to infinity. Therefore, we're not looking at infinity. We're not thinking about things like that. All we can do is try to follow the chart and see what the chart is telling us. And what that's saying to me right now is very soon, we most likely, that again, probability, if I get the signal, if this was a bearish engulfing, I would definitely shut the heck out of that for a move down. Now, if I'm wrong and it popped up, it popped up. But right now, I did not feel comfortable today taking a call on this, taking a swing trade on that, saying, hey, we moving up. I did not feel comfortable. Even though we have increased volume, we have a bullish engulfing pattern. I just did not feel comfortable taking that trade. Therefore, I did not take it. All right, guys. I do have a question here. Are there specific market environments, low volatility, etc., major news days where these breakout strategies should be avoided? As a technical trader, none of this stuff matters to me. All right, none of this stuff matters to me. What I mean by that is, if there's major news coming out, I'll stay away from certain things if we are at support at resistance level, because a lot of times those news events are used as excuses as to why the market goes down, but you always see they coincide with what? With resistance levels. Just go back and check. You'll see every single time we had drops, technically you could have identified that a day or two before it happened. Now, I don't know if if somebody's watching this and say, "Hey, we at resistance level, therefore let's do that." Now, I don't know. I don't know. This is not a conspiracy theory over here. But all I can tell you is, every single time we have drops, ask yourself that. Anytime you see we have great news that seems to bounce the market up, these news never come at resistance level. They always come at support level or somewhere where we have room to one at the top, right? That's always how those news always come out. So I would not tell you to avoid any news or anything like that, because we don't trade news. I don't even really trade fundamentals as much unless I'm doing leap calls. If it's a short dated swing trade, this is pure technical trading. All right. Now, I'm not saying be oblivious about certain things, but at the same time, if you look at it, if we're looking at the warning signs, for example, um, the title of this live is about the ticking the tariff time bomb that the Supreme Court is holding, right? So the Supreme Court has that right now. If and I think my opinion as of right now, I'm leaning toward this is going to be bad, which is why they keep postponing it. This is why I'm getting very, very iffy with all that stuff. If we check the 10-year yield, 10-year looking to almost to break out. If we check the IWM, small cap, all-time high at the top of our wedge, meaning that's dynamic resistance level. If we check the Dow, again, same thing, all-time high. You can see there's some weakness here. We can't take it. If we check the S&P 500, we are all-time high. We actually way over our skis right now, because if you look at that, we've actually have pierced we are actually have pierced the trend line. Let me fix that so everyone can see it. We're actually way outside of that. Let me go on the weekly so everyone can see that a little better, right? We're actually even outside of that, which is would have been right here, right? So we have so many things that's like setting up against us, and that's the problem that I have. Again, take a look at the Mag 7. We talk about the Mag 7. That's the top 7 tech stock. This is what the Mag 7 is doing, right? The Mag 7 just is doing what? Shoulder, head, shoulder, right? That's a head and shoulders pattern, which is a very bearish pattern. This is what this is doing right now. Now, earnings might happen and it may completely cancel that out and push right back up and do its thing, right? So if I'm looking for a trend line, if I take this here, I can connect this low, all right, with that, and boom, okay? We actually came right down to the trend line. Now, is that going to break? If we have a break tomorrow, right? Continuation on Friday, and then maybe sometime next week we retest that level to continue down. That's problem, right? So again, while we are waiting on news, we do have a lot of warning signs, and I don't like what's going on. This is the VIX. We looked at the VIX yesterday. I was telling you guys, I don't like what the VIX was doing. This is where we are. And again, what did you see? We saw a spike on the VIX. We saw a spike. Thank goodness it hit that level of that resistance level, and it got beaten down pretty badly. So this is what it looks like right now. But the MACD is not even positive yet, which means if these things come in, we have some bad news coming, and that thing turn positive is going to be bad. And then we had Bitcoin warning, we had precious metals warning. Again, this is this is like people making putting cash, putting dollars somewhere else. They're not holding dollars. They're not putting the money into the stock market, which is why volume has been a little lower. They are putting them into safe haven. These are defensive moves. When you see people going into gas, utilities, um, oil, precious metals, these are defensive plays, meaning there might be a move, a big move coming, a really bad move, like a bearish move, and they are looking for protection. And when you see the VIX being spiked like that, that's people coming in and putting money in the VIX. Because remember, the VIX is like the inverse of the market. It's like shorting the market. So when the VIX pop up, so for example, if somebody have had calls today on the SPY, you saw the VIX did that the other day, so you bought VIX calls, which is technically a hedge protection. When the VIX spike from closing yesterday at 1595 to 18, almost a 3 points move, you know, that's some money. You make some money, you can get out, right? So even though you're bleeding on your calls with the SPY or the Qs, at least you're making up for it with you making up for it with that. Okay. How can the news should identify fake outs or market manipulation? Um, this is a this is a great question. Um, guys, I'm really going to have to one. This is a really great question. But I unfortunately I have to I have to one, guys. I have to one. This has been fun. Has been one of the most um interactive lives we've had. I do like the live being this interactive because I feel like I can provide more value to you guys. Again, while I am here reviewing stocks and I'm doing all this stuff, you guys are free to ask questions. As I said again, this is not going to be a full trading course. Although I do have a trading course for those of you guys watching this. If you want, just shoot me an email. If you want to check with me, there's a couple of you that email me. I will get back to you. It's just been a really hectic day, so I haven't had a chance to get back to you guys. I will get back to you guys, but this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. I can really take some time to teach you guys a few things if you do ask the questions. If I don't have the questions, I will just do the stock market review. But this is why I do this live and not pre-recorded, because I do want to actually teach you guys a few things. All right. Really want to do teach you guys a few things here and there while I am here. So take advantage of that. Ask me a few questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions. You guys have been great. I have to go meet with people in the community, and those guys in the community. If you are here, I apologize for being late. But this was a very informative and very good recap. I really appreciate doing these things. Again, I will see you guys tomorrow. I have to go. If you enjoyed this video, I do have other videos on the channel. Make sure to check those out. I did drop a videos this afternoon about my top 3 stocks going into tomorrow. Again, those stocks are just my on my watch list. That's just this is not a promise. That doesn't mean that they have to go up, but this is what's on the list. This is what I'm looking at. Make sure to check out that video. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow for another market review. Stay green, stay warm if you're on the East Coast, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.